You ran through the rain, clutching your coat around you. You had stayed too late at work, and now you had to brave the stormy night. You hoped your apartment was not too far away. As you turned to a corner, you saw a flash of lightning illuminate a gruesome scene, a man in a trench coat and a hat, holding a knife over a fallen figure. You gasped, and the man looked up.
Who's there?
He growled, his voice muffled by the rain. You froze, unable to move or speak. You felt his eyes pierce through you, and you knew he had seen your face.
Damn it.
He muttered.
You shouldn't have seen this.
He took a step towards you, raising his knife. You snapped out of your trance and ran away. You couldn't sleep, no matter how hard you tried. Every time you closed your eyes, you saw his face. The face of the killer. The face of the man who had threatened your life. You wondered who he was, and why he had killed that person. You wondered if he would come after you again. You wondered if you were safe. You decided to go for a walk, hoping to clear your mind. You put on your coat and headed outside, into the dark and cold night. You walked aimlessly, trying to forget what you had witnessed. You didn't notice the footsteps behind you, or the shadow that followed you. As you passed by a narrow alley, a hand covered your mouth and dragged you inside. You felt a sharp pain in your ribs as you hit the wall. You opened your eyes and saw him. The killer.
Hello, sweetheart.
He said, his voice dripping with malice.
Did you miss me?
You tried to scream, but his hand muffled your voice. You felt his breath on your neck, and his knife on your chest.
Who are you?
You managed to say.
What do you want from me?
He chuckled, and moved his face closer to yours. You could see his dark eyes, and his twisted smile.
I'm Jungkook. And I want you to keep quiet.
Please, I won't tell anyone. Let me go.
You begged. He shook his head, and pressed his knife harder against your skin.
No. You can't go. You've seen too much. You know my secret.
He leaned in closer, and whispered in your ear.
But maybe, just maybe, there's another way.
You had lost track of time, living in a constant state of fear and confusion. You didn't know why he had kept you alive, or what he wanted from you. You only knew that he was dangerous, and that you had to escape. But as the days went by, you started to see a different side of him. The side that showed kindness and care. The side that made you laugh and smile. The side that made you feel something you shouldn't. You learned he was not the cold-blooded killer you thought he was. He was a victim of his past, a pawn in a bigger game. He hated his life, and he wanted to change it. One night, as you sat on the couch, watching a movie with him, you decided to ask him a question.
Jungkook.
You said, turning to face him.
Why did you choose this life?
He sighed, and paused the movie. He looked at you with a sad expression.
It's complicated. My past shaped me, forced me into this world. But I never wanted it for myself. I'm trapped, just like you.
You felt a pang of sympathy for him, and reached out to touch his hand.
We're both prisoners of circumstance, then?
He nodded, and squeezed your hand.
Yes, but maybe, just maybe, we can find a way to escape together.
He said, looking into your eyes with hope. He leaned in closer, and kissed you softly. You felt a surge of emotion, and kissed him back. You forgot about everything else and wrapped your arms around him. You felt his warmth and his heartbeat. You felt alive. You and Jungkook had grown closer, despite the odds. You had found comfort and joy in each other's company. You had shared your stories and secrets, your hopes and fears. You had fallen in love. But you knew it was dangerous. You knew he was still a wanted man, and that you were still his hostage. You knew that any moment could be your last. One night, as you lay in his arms, you decided to tell him how you felt.
Jungkook, I can't help but feel something for you, despite everything. Is it wrong?
He smiled and kissed your forehead.
Love knows no boundaries, and in the darkness of our lives, perhaps we can find a flicker of light.
He hugged you tighter and stroked your hair.
I never thought I'd say this, but I believe you, I believe in us.
He kissed you passionately, and you kissed him back. You felt his love and his sincerity. You felt happy. You and Jungkook had decided to take a risk and run away from the Mafia. You had gathered enough money and information to make your escape. You had packed your bags and waited for the right moment.
We can't let fear control us forever. Let's take a leap of faith,
you said, holding his hand. He nodded and squeezed your hand.
I won't let anything happen to you. We'll find a way out, together.
You kissed him and grabbed your bags. You followed him to the car and got in. He started the engine and drove away. But you also knew that you had each other. You had love and hope and courage. You had a dream of a better future. With every mile you traveled, your bond grew stronger, until you reached your destination. A small town, far away from the city. A place where you could start over and be happy. You got out of the car and looked around. You saw the sun shining and the birds singing. You saw a sign that said,
"Welcome to paradise."
You smiled and hugged Jungkook.
We made it.
He kissed you and smiled back.
We made it.
You held his hand and walked towards your new home. You felt free and alive. You felt love. You and Jungkook had thought you were safe, living in your small town. You had thought you had left the Mafia behind, and that no one would find you. But you were wrong. One day, as you returned home from work, you saw a black car parked outside your house. You felt a chill run down your spine, and a sense of dread fill your heart. You rushed inside, and saw Jungkook standing in the living room, holding a gun. He looked tense and angry. He looked at you, and his eyes softened.
You're back.
He hugged you and kissed your forehead.
Are you okay?
You asked, worried. He nodded and pulled away.
I'm fine, but we have a problem.
He pointed to the window, where you saw a man standing outside the car. He was tall and muscular. He had blonde hair and a scar on his cheek. He had a smirk on his face and a gun in his hand.
Who is he?
You asked, fearfully.
He's a man I crossed paths with long ago. Someone I thought was gone for good. He wants to punish me for leaving the life we once shared.
He looked at you and held your hand.
He's here to hurt us. He's here to destroy everything we've built.
You felt a surge of anger and determination.
We can't let him do that. We have to fight back.
Jungkook nodded and kissed you.
I love you. I love you too, Jungkook.
You grabbed another gun and followed him outside. You faced the man and prepared for the battle of your lives. You held each other's hands and looked into each other's eyes. You felt a mix of fear and courage, of doubt and faith.
Jungkook, I believe in us. We've overcome so much already. We can overcome this too.
He smiled and kissed your hand.
You're right, love has the power to conquer even the darkest of forces. We'll face this together, and we'll come out stronger.
He lifted his gun and pointed it at the man.
Let's do this.
You nodded and lifted your gun as well. You fired your guns, and the man fired back. Bullets flew in the air, and sparks flew on the ground. You dodged and ducked, and shot and aimed. You fought with all your might and all your heart. You fought for your love and your freedom. You fought for your life. You and Jungkook had faced the man who had tried to kill you, and had won. You had shot him in the chest, and watched him fall to the ground. You had felt a surge of relief and joy. You had finally ended the nightmare that had plagued you for so long. You had finally freed yourselves from the Mafia, and from the past. You ran to Jungkook and hugged him. He hugged you back and lifted you up. He spun you around and kissed you.
We did it. We're free.
He smiled and looked into your eyes.
Yes, love, we've finally broken free from the shadows that haunted us. Now, we can truly live.
He kissed you. And so, you and Jungkook embraced your newfound freedom, your love serving as a beacon of hope and resilience. You learned that even in the face of darkness, love could prevail, and that your bond was unbreakable. Together, you embarked on a future filled with endless possibilities, cherishing every moment as a testament to the strength of your love. You lived happily ever after.